Welcome to the dark side of YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Ghost and I'll be your curator this evening. Today's topic is one of the Ozark Howler. The Ozark Howler is often described as a giant beast the size of a bear with shaggy dark hide or fur, and chilling red demonic eyes, stocky legs, and large ears with horns. He is, in other reports, to be a hybrid cat-like dog with a long cat-like tail, powerful chest, powerful front side, with horns and red eyes. The first reported sighting of the creature dates back to the early 1800s and seen by none other than the explorer Daniel Boone. The encounter takes place in 1810, miles north of what we now call the small town of Cuba, Missouri. Daniel Boone writes his sister-in-law, who is living at the time of the in Kentucky at the time of the encounter. He writes, "I leave you an alarming story of a black creature I found and wounded on the Solder Creek. Black and swarthy, with horns atop his scalp. Ignorant of its name, I am told with the sound it makes with the terrible howling during the night. Warnings of this for settlers should be passed along. Your humble servant, Daniel Boone." Now, for anybody that doesn't know what swarthy means, essentially it is just a fancy way of saying dark-skinned. So essentially it's a dark-skinned mammal with fur, dark-colored fur as well. Now, from this, we could take that the great hunter Daniel Boone was unable to kill the creature because he stated he wounded the animal. He didn't kill it. It's a testament to state that the beast was able to escape with its life, as Daniel Boone is listed as one of the best hunters to live. 6 years later, Daniel Boone, which is now the ripe age of 80 years old, encounters the beast again, but this time along the Platte River. For what I could find in my research, this river is in Nebraska, and at this time, it is said that Boone bests the beast and kills him. Now, there is no proof that Daniel Boone actually killed this creature, and with it being reportedly seen on the Platte River and killed on the Platte River, means that the beast was outside of its area and roams, as it is reported that the beast lives inside the Ozark Mountains. Now, even though the Ozark Mountains are not true mountains, they are just large hills and resides in the following states of Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas, it is hard to believe that this is actually the same beast that he encountered back in 1810. But it is a theory, and it is possible that this is what he's seen. Unfortunately, nobody could relate and state anything about Daniel Boone claims because he is passed much long ago. Could Daniel Boone have killed this beast, and could it have migrated west of its home? Again, I find that hardly likely, but again, stranger things are possible. The next sighting is in 1951 on the farm in Oregon County, Missouri. The farmer wakes up to an interesting sight. His cattle were all huddled in the corner of his property, inside the fence line, obviously frightened by something. As the dairy farmer investigates, he sees the beast in the distance, sniffing the air. He is described as a large black panther with large ears or horns. Unfortunately, the farmer is unable to identify either or due to the distance between the two being too far to see. He claims that it has thick fur and long cat-like tail, but resembles a dog, and glowing red eyes that sent chills down his spine. Now, the farmer was told this story to somebody else who relays the story to a podcast. He stated that the creature was as large as a Great Dane. So if anybody has ever seen a Great Dane, you've got to think about how powerful looking that thing is and how big it is. I mean, Great Danes would go to most people's torsos, so pretty large on there, and possible that, there's a theory that I'm going to get into a little later on that could tie into that. The next sighting I could find was in 2011. At this time, the person has claimed to photograph the howler. The sighting was at the Devil's Den State Park, and the photo of the beast is in very poor quality, and you could find this image on the internet. In my honest opinion, the photograph just looks to be a dog with horns on its head. The animal in the picture doesn't meet the same description as large, bear-like, or powerful. It does match the cat-style dog look, but lacks glowing eyes, and honestly lacks the ability to induce fear. It just honestly looked like a German Shepherd with horns. That's all it looked like. From my abilities of being in nature and in public with animals, when encountered, they are usually very leery of people. Unfortunately, this animal appears to be not only friendly but comfortable with the photographer, meaning that there's a possibility that the animal could have belonged to the photographer and he could have just molded some horns to its head and hoaxed this entirely. The photos were sent to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, who denies that the photographs are legitimate and claims there have been no reports of the Ozark Howler. During the fall of 2014, a news team for the 4029 News indicates that there was an emergency call placed to the AGFC, indicating that a motorist nearly collided with an unidentified mammal around 9:45 p.m. The recorded conversation did reveal that wildlife officers who were armed were sent to investigate the sighting. The motorist reports that the mammal was large, bear-sized, gray in color, and incredibly fast. The encounter happened at the Pump Station Road in Springdale, Arkansas. Now, from all of my findings, I could not find the 911 call to verify this, so I unfortunately have to go based on what the news team claims. But it's very interesting that the AGFC claims that there's been no reports, but there's a phone log that exists of this call, meaning that the AGFC is possibly covering something up, which is not unlikely, because if you ever have watched the David Paulides information of the missing people in the national parks tend to cover that up because they don't want to hurt tourism to their area, and possibly the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission is doing the same thing. In this world, there are people that will hoax things. We understand this. We don't understand why people do it, but we understand that more than likely it's to either be famous or to make money off of it. In this case, the Ozark Howler is none other but a victim to this hoax. It is reported that a student from the University of Arkansas, as part of a bet, sent out messages to cryptozoologists in efforts to trick them into believing that he was holding on to evidence of the Ozark Howler. Cryptozoologists believed that they had found this gold mine and wanted to know more. Unfortunately, this has been deemed a hoax because the person's emails and messages were traced back to him and he admitted to sending them as part of a bet. Hoax or not, the Ozark Howler is stamped into history as being a major part of folklore for Midwest. For someone who has grown up in this area and the areas of the Ozark Howler, I have listened and learned a lot of lore of the Ozark Howler. My theory on this is that the Howler could be a possibility of an offspring of the Michigan Dogman. For those who don't know what the Michigan Dogman or Dogman is, let me explain. Dogman is said to appear to be a werewolf, dog-styled cryptid. Shredded, ripped, and dangerous. It has fingers and not paws, and is bipedal, huge in shape, dark-skinned, much like the Ozark Howler, and matted with fur, much like the Howler. It is claims that the Dogman has been seen with red eyes, but it has also been claimed that they have amber-colored eyes. So, my thoughts on this is I believe that the Ozark Howler is just a descendant of the Michigan Dogman, and with Dogman being reported worldwide, it wouldn't be surprising. Another theory is that this could be a feral animal, and the horns might have just been an exaggeration of eyewitnesses, or possibility of fear-based hallucination. And it may not have horns at all. It may just be a regular feral animal. Anytime that you deal with anything that frightens you, you may recollect something that may not exist, or somebody may have been like, did it have horns? And you, in the mess of trying to remember, states it's a possibility, and then that gets taken as word that it had horns. I don't know if the Howler has horns or not, and in many reports, it states either or. It doesn't state both. So it's a possibility that the horns don't exist, and it could be a fear-based hallucination of eyewitnesses making reports. But regardless of what is said in my video or any video regarding the Ozark Howler, he is embedded with culture and has had many books written about him and his existence. No matter what you believe, you must admit the next time that you are walking down a nature trail or at a national park camping inside those states, if you hear the Howler, just remember that none of his encounters have ended violently to date, but it's always a possibility when you hear that howl, which is said to sound like a woman screaming. Just realize that the Howler is on the prowl. And today could be the first day he decides to take a life. I want to thank you all for tuning into this video. I want to thank you all, and I want you to like this video if you've learned something new today. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, please, because this is free entertainment. It costs nothing to support this channel. And as always, if you dislike what you've listened to in this video or feel that I could do better in another part, let me know by leaving a comment below. I will take any critique and criticism kindly. And if you honestly hated this video, just leave a dislike. Let me know that you didn't like the content so I can adjust in the future. But again, thank you all for joining me on the dark side of YouTube. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.